So what are the questions that we should be asking? This video is going to be about schools, which has a direct impact on our property values. So all of us need to care about this. So those questions: are we at a crossroads? What are other towns in this area doing? Is enrollment going down? And what's going on with our academic scores? On Facebook, especially Facebook, I've read, fine, make do with what we've got. I grew up here. I had 35 kids in my classroom. It worked out for me. I don't agree with that. Just because something happened in the past doesn't mean we should still do it. We used to smoke cigarettes in restaurants. We used to ignore bullying in schools. Cars didn't have seatbelts or airbags. So yeah, we used to have 35 kids in a classroom, but that doesn't mean we should. It's that kind of thinking that makes me realize, as a town, we are at a crossroads. Do we continue our tradition as this family-focused, vibrant town that fights to make sure the next generation has a better life than we did? Or do we keep underfunding our town and watch all that cost-cutting slowly tear down what we've worked so hard to build, what we moved here for? Because I can tell you what other towns are choosing to do. When it comes to education, the best apples-to-apples comparison about how we compare to our neighboring towns is called per pupil spending. We're $4,000 per pupil behind our other local towns. If our kids could vote, what would they say about that? There's this weird notion out there that Belchertown spends 20% more than the state requirement on education, and that's a good thing. Thinking about it like that is a bit broken. The minimum should never be the goal for our kids, because for our neighboring towns, the minimum is definitely not their goal. The average spending above that mandated requirement is 50% for our neighboring towns. So yeah, we spend 20% more than the minimum, but that's nothing to brag about. Everybody else is spending 50% more than the minimum. And I'm going to squeeze this in. In the 70s, 21% of college degrees were in education. It was a job people wanted to do. In 2019, that number was 4%. There is a massive drought of teachers on the horizon. Every district around us is going to be fighting for a very limited supply of teachers. Very soon, people are going to ask, how come we don't have blank class anymore? And just pick a subject: physics, AP Bio. And the answer is going to be teachers could make more somewhere else. Just look at this. Compared to other local towns, we pay $4,000 less than the average. Do you want to work for a company that pays less than the average by 5%? No one wants to make less than average. So why are we doing it to our teachers in our town? And before I'm accused of including this, because teachers or the union asked me to, no, not true. They haven't asked me to say anything. But it is why someone needs to say something about it. We can't fix this overnight, but we need to start, and that should be part of the plan too. On social media, I've seen, but the schools are shrinking, enrollment is down. Yeah, it is. In 2015, we had 2,300 students. Now we've got 2,000. But this is ignoring how fast the population of high-need students is increasing. The state defines high-need students as students with disabilities, English language learners, and those who are economically disadvantaged. The state used to call that group low-income students. Just special ed increased from 12% of the population to 22% of the population in the last 20 years. The number of low-income students went from 9.8% to 23.3% in that same time period. And the state changed the definition, which made the number of students qualifying less than otherwise would. I've seen an idea celebrated when the school saves money by increasing fees. So it costs a family more for their kids to play sports or participate in activities. 23.3% of our students are economically disadvantaged. And we are knowingly passing those fees on to those families, and they cannot afford it. Is that who we are? Shouldn't those kids have the same opportunity to participate? Fees are not a great solution to solve these financial problems. Fees take opportunities away. And public schools aren't a business. They don't turn a profit. They're not supposed to. They take your money and they turn it into opportunities. They educate the next generation so that every person has a chance. That's what it's all about. They use your money. All of it. All that to say, yes, The student-teacher ratio may look good on paper, but for general education students, class sizes are likely very similar because high-needs classrooms are really small, and they need to be. They should be. Times have changed. The great thing about this country is we want our kids to have a better life than we did. So let's take a look at what the academic scores show recently.